Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the first elementary grade. Our textbook is Weekend 1 and today inshallah we will cover Unit 1 Animals Evaluation, and it will be reviewed by me, Teacher Mazen Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Salih Al-Ajan. So let's begin. So in today's lesson in evaluation, we're going to review the first unit that is called animals. And the first lesson we did learn in this unit was called talk time, that can be seen on pages 2 and 3. And our goals were in this lesson is to identify and talk about animals, and to talk about them, and also to utter simple words and numbers. And the first lesson we have learned in this, or the first thing we have learned in this lesson was how to identify animals first and then say how many of these animals that we can see. So here, as you can see, the first animal we did learn about is a horse. A horse. And we said that when we see this picture of a horse, what we need to do is we're going to count. We're going to count and see how many horses we can see here. So let's, me and you, remind ourselves of how to count animals. So let's start from the first one. So here we have 1 horse, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So here is the number. Here we have 11 horses. 11 horses. And the next one. As you can see, here we have 11 horses. What do we call this animal? This is a rabbit. This is a rabbit. And how many rabbits can we see here? Let's count them. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So here we have 12 rabbits. 12 rabbits. Now let's move on to the next one. Have a look at this animal. Can you tell me what do we call this animal? We call it a zebra. We call it a zebra. And how many zebras can we see here? Let's count them. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So here you go. Here we have 13 zebras. Here we have 13 zebras. Now, let's see the other one. Can you know what do we call this animal? We call it a lion. We call it a lion. And can you tell how many lions we have here? Let's count them. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So how many lions we have here? We have 14 lions. We have 14 lions. Now let's move on and see the next one. What do we call this animal? We call it a bear. And can you tell from this picture how many bears we have? Let's count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So here we have 15 bears. 15 bears. And let's see the next one. How many, can you tell what is this animal? It is a cat. And how many cats we have here? Let's count them again. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So here we have 16 cats. And the next one, what do we call this animal? We call it a bird. And how many birds we have? Here we have 17. So if we count them, we can see 17 birds. 17 birds. Now, what about the next one? What do we call this animal? We call it a chicken. And how many chickens can we see here? We can see number 18. So if we do count them, then we will have 18 chickens. 18 chickens. Now, let's see the next one. What do we call this animal? We call it a turtle. We call it a turtle. And how many turtles do we have? Here we have 19 turtles. 19 turtles. And if we count them, we will have 19 turtles. Now, will lead us to the last thing. And what is this thing? What do we call it? We call it an egg. And what's the number we have here? We have 20. So if we do count these eggs, how many eggs we will have? We will have 20 eggs. 20 eggs. So this is mostly what was our lesson talk time about, is that we can count animals and eggs from number 11 to number 20. And after this, we had the other lesson, which is rhythms and sound, that can be seen on pages 4 and 5. And our goals were in this lesson to read and match numbers to photos, and also be willing to read simple, short, illustrated stories. So the first thing we did with this lesson is that we listened to a chant that is called Paco. And after this, we did listen to this chant, we did practice it together, and also we learned some new words. So let's, me and you, try to remind ourselves of this chant and try to chant it together again. So the chant we have was called Paco. So let's listen to the chant again. There was a farmer who had a horse, and Paco was his name. P-A-C-O, 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 and Paco was his name. So this is the chant we did practice with the first unit, and also it is about someone whose name is Paco. And what did Paco do? He is a farmer. Paco is a farmer. So after this, after we listen, we said that we need to stamp the rhythm. We need to change the rhythm, have different rhythms, and even if we chant it with someone else, maybe a classmate or a family member, we can chant this chant again. So after we listen to this chant, after we chant it with different rhythms, we said that it is important that we write the word Paco. And how we write the word Paco? The first important thing is that we do trace the word and then we write it. So here we have the word Paco, and before we try to write it here, we need to first try to trace it. And if we are able to trace it, then we can write it on the line. We can write the word here on the line. So for example, we did a simple tracing like this, and then we went back here and we write it on the line like this. So here how we write the word Paco. This is how we write the word Paco. So after we trace, we did write the word Paco like this. So here you go. It is important before we write, it is important that we can trace first. And after this, we said that we're going to play a game that is called a guessing game, where we need to look at these different pictures of animals, and here we have different numbers. So what we need to do is that we're going to stop at each picture and count how many animals do we have here. And when we do, we need to match it with the exact numbers we have. So let's try to answer only one example from these pictures just to remind you how we did answer this question. So let's take this picture, for example, and let's count how many animal or how many lions we have here. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So here we have 14 animals. So after knowing that we have 14 animals, what is the next thing we would do? We should match. We should match this picture to the number. So since we have 14 lions, then we're going to match it to number 14. We're going to match it number 14. And we can do the same with the other pictures. Also, with the other exercise where we have bigger numbers from 16 to 20. So let's choose an example here and try to match it. Let's take the turtle, for examples. Let's count them and match them with the exact number. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So here we have 19 turtles, so we're going to match them with number 19, and you can do the same with the other pictures. And after this, we have the words lesson on pages 6 and 7, and our goals is that we're going to identify names of animals and also to listen to short materials and to read and point words with photos. So what we did first is that we did listen to these 3 words and we say them again. Let's listen to them one more time. The first word we have is duck, duck, cat, cat, bird, bird, fish, fish, mouse, mouse, cow, cow. So, after listening to 6 of these words of different animals, we did learn the second thing, which is how each of these animals sound like. So also we said that we can listen or we can make the sound of the first animal. For example, bird have the sound like tweet, tweet. And also with the horse have the sound of neigh, neigh, and so on. We did the same. We listened to different animals and their sounds. And after this, we did listen to a chant about old MacDonald who had a farm. So we listen, we learn what do you mean by the word farm and cows, as we can see here with these pictures. And after this, we had the phonics lesson that can be seen on pages 8 and 9, where what we did in this phonics lesson, we did recognize and produce the sound of 4 important letters. And these letters can be seen here in these words. So the first word we have learned from this lesson was the word sun. Sun. And the second word was tiger. Tiger. And the third one, umbrella. Umbrella. And next we have vase. Vase. So these words starts with the letters that we did practice, which is S, T, U, and V. Not only this, but after we practice and listen to these words, we have the other lesson, which is, or the other exercise, where we did trace and copy. So what we did here is that we did trace these letters and then we write them at the end. We started with the letter S and then the letter T where we trace and also we copy the letter T, and also with the letter U we did trace letter U and we copy it at the end, and finally with letter V where we did trace letter V maybe 3 to 5 times and then we copy it at the end. And the last exercise we have is just to remind ourselves of the words of these letters. So we said that let's try to continue these words with the letters. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, we have the word sun. And sun starts with the letter S. And number 2, we have the word tiger. And the word tiger starts with letter T. At number 3, we have the word umbrella, and umbrella starts with U. And finally, we have the word vase that starts with letter V. So this is how we answer and practice these 4 letters. And after this, we did listen and count numbers from 20 and above. So we said 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. And also we completed up to 30. We said 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So here we have finished our evaluation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.